Welcome to the Do What You Love podcast, a podcast with a mixture of personal development and career advice to help you reach your full potential. Now over to your host, Life Purpose Champion, Amanda Heal.
Hello and welcome to the Do What You Love podcast. I'm your host, Amanda Heal. Today I'd like to talk to you about courage, what it is and how you get it. So firstly, what is courage? I think courage is a subjective thing. It's different for different people. What some people think of as courageous, other people think of as perfectly normal. I know throughout my life, as a blind person, people have often told me that I'm courageous. And I think to myself, well, no, I'm just living my life. But to them, they feel that what I am doing is courageous. Courage has been described as many things by different people. Plato describes courage as a kind of salvation. US General William Tecumseh Sherman describes courage as a perfect sensibility of the measure of danger and the mental willingness to endure it. Mark Twain describes courage as resistance of fear, mastery of fear, not absence of fear. I definitely agree with the second definition of courage, where someone is in danger. But I agree with the third definition of courage, when someone is not in actual mortal danger, but facing something they're afraid of. So how do you get courage? Well, Nick Vujicic, in his podcast on the subject of courage, says that you need conviction. If you don't know Nick Vujicic, I highly recommend that you look him up on YouTube. He's amazing. He was born with no arms and no legs, and he just has one little foot, which he calls his chicken drumstick, which he can do all sorts of things with, which is quite amazing. And when he was young, I'm not quite sure how old, maybe 11, he told his brother one night that he was going to commit suicide when he was 21 because he felt that as a person with no arms and legs, he wouldn't be able to marry, he wouldn't be able to have children, he wouldn't be able to provide for a family. So he figured he may as well just die. His brother, of course, went off and told his father, who came in and told Nick that he loved him, that he was loved by all his family, and that they would work things out. Everything would be okay. So after that happened, Nick went on. He didn't commit suicide at 21. He went on, he got married. He had 4 children, and he now travels the world as a speaker. And he was able to do that because of the conviction of the love of his family. He knew his family couldn't fix his issues. They couldn't give him arms and legs. But he knew that they loved him, and that was what kept him going. Personally, I think courage requires purpose. Very similar in the way that I described how hope requires purpose. It's that thing that keeps you going. It's that thing that gets you up in the morning. It's that thing that makes you try again when you feel like quitting. The thing that gives me courage is my life purpose, which is to inspire and encourage others. Just in case you haven't heard the bus story, I caught buses to school and university, and then I was fortunate enough to have someone transport me to work for most of my 17-year work life. So, and then I was made redundant, worked from home for a few years. So basically I didn't catch a bus for around 20 years. And then when it came time for me to catch buses again, I was absolutely petrified. But I decided I would learn to catch buses again because I was offered a job as a public relations speaker for the Guide Dogs Association. And one of the conditions of that job was that I use public transport as much as possible, so I could talk authentically about independence. Being a guide dogs speaker fitted in with my life purpose of inspiring and encouraging others, and it also fitted in with my desire to live out that purpose as a speaker. So that's what gave me the courage to take those lessons and learn how to catch buses again. I also get my courage from my faith in God, in His love, and in His protection and guidance. So then, to get courage, you either need conviction or you need a purpose. Also, similar to hope, courage requires goals. Psychologist Rick Snyder, in writing about hope, said that people who have goals have more hope because they have something to work towards. And if they are able to break those goals down into smaller bite-sized pieces, then achieving each one of those bite-sized pieces increases their belief and increases their ability to try something bigger or harder, a bigger goal. And I think courage is very similar. As we achieve little things, it then gives us the courage to go, you know what, I'm going to step up and do the next thing. Going back to the bus story, I had to start with getting on and off the bus and finding a seat. While I wasn't terrified of doing that, I was anxious because I thought perhaps I was taking too long to find a seat. And it was only talking to the bus driver that got me to understand that, no, it's their job to wait for me to get a seat. Obviously, I do it as quickly as I can, safely, but I don't have to worry that they're going to take off before I'm sitting down. So I'd achieved that goal. I could get on the bus and find a seat, and that was okay. And then I went on a bus journey with an instructor sitting beside me. That wasn't too bad either. Then it came to going by myself. The instructor was on the bus, but she was up the back, so she wasn't giving me any. That was a bit scary, but I managed it. And then after a couple of those, then I had to do a bus journey by myself and meet the instructor. That was scary, but I was able to achieve that because of what I'd achieved previously. Being able to break down that goal of independent bus travel down into little bite-sized pieces built my belief in my ability and built my confidence. And while I was still anxious, I was able to get through each one of those steps, and now I travel all over Canberra by bus. The third thing I think you need to build courage and also to maintain it is practice. I haven't caught a bus since the 28th of February this year. One, because I went overseas for a holiday which was cut very short, and secondly, because of COVID-19, I haven't been going anywhere. But I am due to do a face-to-face talk tomorrow. Interestingly, training bus drivers. So to do that, I have to catch a bus from one end of Canberra to the other. I haven't done that for a while. And so I know that I'm going to feel a little bit more anxious than I otherwise would. But I also know that I have done it before and everything will be okay. So in order to keep being able to travel independently by bus, I need to keep practicing, because if I don't practice, those anxiety levels go up. So what do you need courage for today? How can you break that thing down into bite-sized pieces? Or if it's something you haven't done for a while, what can you do to keep practicing that thing? Now, I hope you've enjoyed this episode of the Do What You Love podcast. Until next time, have a great day and do what you love.
You've been listening to the Do What You Love podcast with Amanda Heel. Feeling unfulfilled and frustrated and unclear what to do next? Access Amanda's Are You Living Out Your Purpose quiz and resources to get you started on your journey to doing what you love at www.purposevisionfuture.com. That's purposevisionfuture.com.